Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining on here and coming on and watching us and being part of this amazing journey. Really appreciate it and love to go with you. So I wanted to today share a little bit of a challenge that I had late last week. And the reason I want to share it with you is not to, woe's me, but to share a model that I've learned that has helped me a lot and that continues to help me, and it helped me last week to be able to process what happened. So, first of all, the model. We have circumstances that happen in life. Circumstance is a fact, okay? We could go to a court of law and prove it, okay? Gravity is a fact. Certain things like your bank account is a fact, okay? Your type of car, whether your car is working or not, okay? Real life things, they're facts, right? But they're just facts. They're just circumstances. They're just the way it is. They don't mean anything until we have a thought, okay? And thoughts are just thoughts. They're not true. We cannot prove them in a court of law. Thoughts are just thoughts. And then can choose whether or not we want to believe that thought, whether we want to go with that thought, or whether we want to go a different direction and then have another thought. We have the agency to choose. So, but once we do choose, and we have this thought, then the feeling is attached to it. And quite often what happens, especially if it's a negative thought, the feelings are negative or not very comfortable. And then they give us a result, okay, from our thoughts, then our feelings, then give it a result, then basically create an action, so then we react to it, okay? So the result quite often triggers in us an action. Okay, so here's case in point. So last Thursday night, I was doing a lot of driving. I was driving a bus for the school, and I was, doing a whole bunch of stuff. And so it was late. It was probably around 9 o'clock, 8:30 or 9. It was still kind of dusky. It was still light. So it was probably 8:30 or 9. And I'm driving along, doing a little bit over the speed limit. I wasn't speeding that much, just a little bit over. And that time of night, I'm always checking the ditches for animals, right? Because quite often they'll jump out. And I was looking over this way. At the corner of my eye, I saw a deer coming full speed across the other side of the highway onto my side. And obviously my attention went to it. And I started to kind of maneuver to kind of figure out where he was going, and he wasn't going in a straight line. So I was like, anyway, I start to brake, and I go to dodge him, and I did dodge him. But in doing so, that was actually the easy part. It was scary, but it was the easy part. In doing so, I was turned enough that it actually felt like I almost started to, I didn't. But that kind of feeling that you're like, almost like you're going to roll? Well, I felt that. And I'm so thankful that angels kept my car on the road. Thank you, heaven. But I had that feeling, and that, the shortness of breath, just the fear, right? So circumstance was the deer ran across the road. I hit the brakes, and I had this feeling like I was going to flip. That's the circumstance. The thought I had was, oh my goodness. One of the first thoughts I had was not me walking in the door of my family celebrating that I was home, but a police officer knocking on my door telling him that I was not coming home. That was my first thought. So obviously the feeling that was attached to that was panic, was discomfort, sorrow, fear, almost like a lack of hope, like hopelessness. It started going down the alley of, my whole existence, my mortality was in question. And it started to go. And I hit the brakes on those thoughts because I could see where I was going. And I was still trying to drive. And B, I had to go home to be with my family. I didn't want to go home and dump this all on them, especially since right now I'm working out of town a lot. So when I'm home, I want it to be uplifting, right? So I stopped it in its tracks. I backed it up and recognized that that's just a thought. Okay, it didn't happen. So what's another thought that I can replace it with? I chose to be thankful. I chose to be grateful that for whatever reason I saw the deer, first of all. Second of all, that I did not flip, that I was driving a vehicle that stayed on the road, and that I wasn't going so fast that I wasn't able to correct, right? So that's where I tried to get my thoughts to go. But obviously our brains are brilliant and they try to go at every possible solution. And it started to go away back to that police officer again. But then I was like, no. But then it went to the deer and started to get upset at the deer for running. And then I'm like, come on, the deer was just being a deer. We probably built this road in its habitat, right? So I have no right to get mad at the deer. So again, I restructured the thought, and the thought around the thankful thought was gratitude, peace. I mean, my heart was still going. My body was still reacting to the situation, but I was controlling my thoughts because I was recognizing that the circumstance did not equal my feelings. That I had that thought in there that equaled the feelings, so I could control that thought. I controlled that thought, and it was able to bring me down. I still had to do some other things over the weekend, have a massage, and some other things to kind of bring that energy down. But it would have been a lot worse if I didn't. So I just wanted to share that with you quick. I know it's a little bit longer than usual, but yeah, be safe while you're driving. Don't speed. When I was driving back here this time, I went to speed limit. The 5 or 10 minutes I saved by speeding, it's not worth it. My life's worth more than that. So be safe, be real, and go make the world a better place. Thank you, and take care.